has traveled around 30 million kilometers with just 14 crashes.
Right.
I can see that you think 14 crashes is a lot. Actually, 13 of those crashes were caused by other human drivers' mistakes, and only one crash was caused by Waymo. So Waymo was able to cover almost 25 more times the distance covered by an average commuter with just one accident. And not just does the car prevent you from crashing, it can also help you in an unexpected emergency. This is Joshua Neely. He's a lawyer from Missouri. One day he was going to work when he felt an excruciating pain in his abdomen and chest. Luckily to him, he had just received his Tesla Model X. This car is a level 2 autonomous that works level 3 in shadow mode. The car requires him to just touch the steering wheel every once in a while in order to take him where he wants him to go. He was luckily saved using this autonomous car. So not just do autonomous vehicles help you from crashing, it also might save your life in an unexpected emergency. Now, regarding the level 2 and level 3 autonomous, what does this mean? We're going to explain the different levels of autonomy, starting with the first level, which is level 0. Level 0 is just like my beloved Zatuna. As fun it is to drive these cars, they give you absolutely zero assistance and and everything is controlled by the human. The steering, acceleration, and deceleration. We have already seen where that has taken us. But in case we don't want to do this, we have the next level of autonomy, which is level 1. Level 1 is our day-to-day car. The human being is still in full control of the vehicle. However, it might help you in some things like acceleration and deceleration. For example, the cruise control system, which is setting a certain speed to the car, and the car has to adhere to that speed. But still, you have to be fully alert all the time, and you're in full control of the vehicle at all times. The next level of autonomy is level 2, and in level 2 autonomous systems, the vehicle is responsible for most of the environment of the car. However, this does not mean that you can nap in the car or maybe just drive recklessly. You have to still be in full control of the vehicle. It can only be autonomous in certain conditions. And it can ask you at any moment to take full control of the vehicle. But this is really nerve-wracking. I mean, we have the next one, which is level 3. Level 3 vehicles have full control of the vehicle at all times. However, it might ask you to take control of the car, but will give you a heads up before it and tell you that you need to drive it by yourself. So after a day at work, you usually feel very tired and you really don't want to worry about your car asking you to suddenly take control of it. Which is why we have the level 4 autonomous cars. Level 4 autonomous cars cannot ask you to take control of the vehicle. However, if you are a motorsport enthusiast, just like me, you will still be able to control the car if you want to. There are steering wheels and there's brakes and accelerators. However, the level 5 autonomous systems have no steering wheels, they have no accelerators, and they have no brakes. Basically, you're just a cargo inside the car, and the car is responsible for transporting you from one place to another. So now, let's see, what does Zatuna need to do in order to be transformed from a level 0 autonomous vehicle to a level 4 autonomous vehicle? Before we can answer that question, she needs to answer 5. Where am I? What is that? What is its next move? What's my next move? And how am I going to do it? So let's start with the first question. Where am I? By embedding a GPS system inside the car knows where it's located for up to 10 meters of accuracy. How GPS works is basically that there are 30 satellites orbiting the Earth. At any place in the Earth, 4 of these satellites should be visible to you. The satellite sends information about its location and current time to the using waves. The GPS receiver in your car and in your phones can intercept these waves, and based on the time difference, can understand how far the satellites are. So now that Zatuna has a basic understanding of where she is, where she wants to go, and what route to take, she'll need to understand more about the surroundings around her. have a clear view of what surrounds the car. In order to do that, we have to have 4 different systems of sensing attached to the car. The first one is the LiDAR, then we have a radar, an ultrasonic sensor, and the camera. We're going to explain each of these from the least complicated to the most complicated. The least complicated one is the ultrasonic sensor. The ultrasonic sensor works just like a bat. It sends sound waves into the space, and when these waves hit an obstacle, they echo back to the sensor. The sensor then senses that there is an immediate object in front of it. Unfortunately, these sensors can only sense objects that's right immediately in front of it, and so it's very limited in terms of distance. In order to have a better perception, the car needs to have a 2D and 3D mapping of all the surrounding. For 2D mapping, it uses a radar. It uses a radar, which is so similar to ultrasonic sensors, except that it uses electromagnetic waves instead of sound waves. The advantage of electromagnetic waves is that it does not only give you the distance, but also the speed that the obstacle is moving towards you through through changing frequencies. So now that the car knows where it is in the 2D mapping, it still needs to understand what that object exactly is. This is why we have cameras and LiDARs. First with cameras. Cameras, we're all familiar with it. Just like you can look into a camera and see a clear view of your surroundings, so does the car. And also, it can better understand the signs in the street and the lanes, so that it can adapt to the different terrains that it faces. However, there's a big elephant in the room here. Bad weather. Just like yesterday we had rain, cameras do not work properly in bad weather, which is why we have the LiDARs. The LiDARs simply work by emitting 36 lasers in 360 degrees, and then these lasers are bounced back from the objects and is then again accepted by the sensor. The advantage of LiDARs is not that they just understand the distance between the object and the car, but also the depth of the object, which gives us a clear view of the objects in the street. So now that the car knows exactly what it is, where it is, and has a clear understanding of its surrounding, it gathers the information from all these sensors into a very highly intelligent computer that then can predict these sensors and use it to actuate and steer the car. And in order to do this, it must be fitted with 3 actuation systems: steer-by-wire, electric throttle, and brake-by-wire. Of course, coupled with an automatic gearbox. So now Zatouna is ready to take the road by fire, right? Well, unfortunately, no. Level 0 autonomous cars are very hard to transform into autonomous vehicles. They simply do not have the platform for it. However, other cars, the modern cars, the level 1 autonomous vehicles, have a better platform in order to install these systems. So now let's look at the scenario where Zatouna needs to move from a point A to B. You get in the car. So now you're in a parking spot that you need to get out. The sensors start to look at all the cars and all the curbs that surround the car in order to get out of the parking spot, and then move into the streets. Now it has a clear view, the camera kicks in, and it has a clear view of all the other vehicles, the lampposts, the lane marks, and it can clearly navigate through the streets. You can even see that it's a bit foggy, and yet it has a clear view of its surroundings. Once it reaches its destination, the passenger can simply get off the car, and the car can park itself and even find a parking spot in case a readily available one isn't near. So now let's look at the challenges and the hurdles facing these technologies. Why don't we have them on the streets right now? The first challenge that we face is a legal challenge. Simply, if you have someone driving behind the wheels, you have someone to blame in case an accident happens. But if you have an autonomous car where the driver cannot control anything in it, who do you blame in case of an accident? software. Also, another thing would be the philosophy behind the decision making. Us humans, whenever an accident happens, we just get very confused and we usually mess things up. However, cars make decisions very precisely with very calculated measures. So in case of a philosophical concept happening, what kind of action it chooses to do, which can be better explained through the trolley experiment. And I mean, this kid has it already all figured out. He crashes all five of them directly. I mean, why do we even worry about this? Another great challenge is cyber security. These cars, if they could be compromised and hijacked, it can lead to terrorist attacks. You might think that this is just a movie, but actually this is one of the main reasons why we don't have these cars on the streets now. If it can be easily hijacked and the security can be compromised, it can be used in terrorist actions and maybe even assassinations. Another challenge that's not as important as the other two, but it's yet very tricky, is randomness. We humans can better understand the surrounding around us, no matter how random it is. However, cars can only understand what it's fed. So if it faces a new situation that was not previously fed to it, it will not understand what to do. In this video, you will see that Google's autonomous car suddenly stops in the street not knowing what to do. It's later known that what's happening is that there's an old lady in an electric wheelchair chasing a duck, chasing a small bird, a duck. I mean, even Lewis Hamilton wouldn't know what to do in this situation. So now to wrap it up, I would like to show you a video of Google's autonomous car. This is a guy who is legally blind. He lost 95% of his eyesight. He is way past legally blind. It's very hard for him to get any place he wants, and it's very hard for him to do most of the mundane activities that we take for granted. Autonomous cars not only ensure that he can get where he needs to go, but also wherever he wants to go. It can make life easier for him and for us, if we only fully utilize this. So let me end this by asking you a question. What can we do with the time, the space, and the capabilities that autonomous cars can provide us? Thank you.
So I will start off with the first question. You explained it very well, and I don't think there's any engineering question that I can pose regarding this. That's what autonomous cars are. But there is a whole lot of ethical questions and philosophical questions that you and I with these cars. So a recent study came out which stated that if, and at present, the Google cars that have their algorithms in place, fed by a whole lot of people who have taken service, like myself, I've also taken a lot of these sorts of food service. And so the question posed was, if on the one hand there was a white person and on the other hand there was a black person, which one would the car kill? And the car chose a black person. What do you have to say about this?
This is actually a very interesting question. I think that's a major problem of artificial intelligence as a whole, that they usually use data that's already given to them, and based on data, maybe he figured out that the black person is somehow less valuable, has a lower life expectancy. I'm not sure whether the car choose that, but this is why we don't have autonomous cars to this one. It's because people cannot, engineers cannot still state how the exact decision-making of these cars are going to be. As I said, us humans, we make mistakes. It's easy to blame someone. But if you're going to make a software for it, it has to be very exact and very well calculated. So this is one of the things that has not been solved yet, but hopefully it will be in the near future.
So the next question is, what about government shutting down, for instance, the internet? I presume that these cars rely very heavily on Google Maps or things like that. Places where such websites are banned, like China, wouldn't have these technologies altogether, would they?
Exactly, this is also a very important question, the infrastructure, that you need to have a very heavy, dependent infrastructure in order to have these cars. I mean, they don't just work on their own, they actually can communicate with other cars, with their traffic lights. Such things, in case, as you said, a network shutdown happens, will cause a crisis. So yeah, this is also one of the questions, but I propose that these cars will not be happening in countries of such events more likely to happen in the near future. But like, there are countries that did not have a network or an electricity shutdown in many years. So maybe it's a possibility for them that they have not, that the probability of that happening is so low that they take it into account.
And finally, there is this final issue, and you pointed it out yourself a little while ago, is the interaction with other cars. And that's what's really tough for autonomous cars to figure out. Because if all other cars were autonomous, then they'd obviously all go in a straight line without any problems, without any brakes. But human drivers are eccentric. And so if, for instance, in 100 autonomous cars, you had one single human driver, none of them would function properly the way they ought to work. Because they consistently be relying on that human driver's decision and the randomness of that human driver's decision. What do you have to say about this?
I think what you're trying to say that once we have all the cars being autonomous, there will be no need for traffic lights. I mean, basically traffic lights just communicate me, the driver on this part of the street, with the driver the other part of the street. It's red, don't cross, I'm crossing, this is green, I'm crossing. If cars can do this with each other without the interference of human beings, we will have no need for traffic lights. And as you said, if there's one human driver on the street, this will cause a chaos because he can't understand the cars. So such thing where cars can communicate with each other with no traffic lights will not happen unless human beings are banned on the road. And this is not the near future, this is like way ahead in the future.
Thank you.
Two things. Firstly, have you researched yourself on this topic?
Yes. It's not my field of study, so this was more of me just doing my own research. But yeah, I have tried my best.
You plan to do it?
In the future? No, this is actually, automotive has been a hobby or an extracurricular activity for me, but my main major of study is biomechatronics, which is so different than this.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming to Pakistan. My question is, what can you show in video is quite an ideal situation, a point state which is going light, right and left. But what about hilly areas or deserts? Are these feasible for that too?
I think not. We're going to have a very well-structured city in order for autonomous cars to be capable to interact with the, like if you don't have road signs, for example, this is also accounted in the randomness part of the presentation, where us humans, for example, if there's a yellow light, what would we do? We just speed up till we make it before the yellow light stops. But an autonomous car understands yellow as slow down, so it will slow down. So perhaps maybe he gets hit from behind. I think you mean this, that incorporating autonomous cars in an infrastructure that's not prepared for it will cause very dangerous effects. So yeah, I don't think it can happen in deserty or hilly areas as long as there's not clear signs of everything and everything is well organized. It will be very hard.